So what's up, guys? Today we're talking about magic. Um, I had a lot of dreams in the last few nights, and those were like special dreams. Most dreams are very ordinary, right? Most dreams are just random stuff. Not entirely, but I'll get to that. Um, this dream was a bit interesting. Like I was visiting my old elementary school. But in that dream, it was an entirely different one. Like it was a huge compound with several buildings and color-coded sections and all that. And there was this secret program which was going on underground, where the the students were um, given a certain like some audio tape to listen to when they were sleeping, and then they were being possessed by some sort of gaseous entity. And obviously, I personally think such dreams are fairly real, actually. Not just dreams are not just imagined. Dreams are, in my opinion, um, basically your soul goes to wander inside the spirit world, and this has something to do with how magic works, right? So magic depends on something called the hypnagogic state, which is a state right between waking and sleeping. Because if when you fall asleep, you have a consciousness and a subconsciousness, right? And the subconsciousness is always submerged basically in the spirit world. Um, think of it like you have a body and your head peeks out of the water. You're swimming in water and your head peeks out, and that's the surface and the air and all that. That's what you see in your waking life. That's reality, right? But your body, your subconscious soul, is submerged in the water, and the water is the spirit world. And so when you go to sleep, when you fall asleep, you slowly tilt and turn around until your subconscious reality is in the waking world, and your consciousness is in the spirit world. And that's what dreams are. Dreams are not just something your brain makes up. Dreams are and dreams are actually very real. Your soul is inside the spirit world and potentially exploring the spirit world. That's why everything in the spirit world, everything operates on dream logic, because it's informationally based, not materially based. So in the spirit world, basically what you think can become reality, and matter also works like that. But something what you think can become reality, but inside the material world, it's a lot less direct, because the material world descends from the spirit world. It's a reflection of the spirit world, but it is a frozen reflection, a solid reflection, which is resistant to change. So it always lags behind a bit. And inside the spirit world, you can make changes to the reality, but you can't. But the effects only are shown in reality a lot slower. They only emerge less directly. And the hypnagogic state is necessary so you can make changes in the material world, because magic is the changing of the material world according to your will, right? So what you have to do is to achieve you have to achieve a hypnagogic state. Basically, you have to connect your consciousness to your subconsciousness. You have to freeze yourself in the state where you're simultaneously in the material realm, your consciousness is simultaneously in the material realm and in the spiritual realm, which is the hypnagogic state, right? So that's how you can do magic, by consciously changing the spiritual world to have an effect on the material, which isn't direct. It is causal, but it is indirectly causal, because things in the material realm are not really causally related. That's an illusion created by the harmony that exists, actually. Things inside the spiritual realm are directly cause things, events to happen in the material realm. And you have to really have an impact, you have to change things in the spiritual realm, in the metaphysical. And so the trick is basically to connect your subconscious with your consciousness to achieve a hypnagogic state and to cause an effect inside the spiritual realm, so you can see the indirect causal effects inside the material realm, which don't necessarily causally make sense in the material realm, but that's actually an illusion. It does causally make sense, but inside the spiritual realm. And yeah, so obviously achieving a hypnagogic state is very difficult to do intentionally. Like, we all have lucid dreams from time to time, yes, but we can't really intentionally control that unless we are trained to do so. And I personally am not trained to do so, right? I'm not really an adept magician. I only recently got into the whole things like 6 years ago or so. And I don't really have teachers or anything, so I'm coming up with all of this myself. So there are workarounds. And one of these workarounds is a sigil magic, actually, which means you can offload this transition from the material to the metaphysical realm to a sigil, which is an encrypted command, basically. Sigil magic is basically the console commands for reality. So you can, you don't actually have access to, if you don't actually have direct access to the source code of reality, which is the spiritual realm, then to the engine of humanity, basically, of the engine of reality, then you can hack into it through command codes, which are directly provided by the creator, basically. And this works the following: you draw a couple symbols which have meaning to you. At that point, one for your wish, one for the target. The symbol for the target should be meaningful. It should actually refer to that person directly, and otherwise it won't work. That's the personal sigil of that person, right? People can have multiple personal sigils. If you know the personal sigil of a person who has come up with it himself, then it's most effective, but you can also come up with one yourself. So you basically combine these two sigils together and change them subtly with different mechanics. You change it until it's no longer its purpose is no longer directly recognizable to you. So your conscious mind should not be able to comprehend what the sigil does. This is important, because that way your subconsciousness still knows this. This is the workaround, basically. You're achieving a hypnagogic state inside the sigil, not inside your own mind. That's how sigil magic works, right? And most people are already done with that. They have created the sigil, and that's it. You can do some rituals with it to heighten its potency, like combining the 5 elements inside a ritual. Like, the 5 elements are spirit, fire, air, water, and earth, right? So you you drawing the sigil is already representing the element of spirit. then you burn it, you I don't know, you blow on it, and you put some water on it, mix it, and bury it. And that's how you actually basically do a specific ritual, which heightens the potency of the spell. Then there's obviously the Selemites, the Crowley types, which do some other things with sigils, but you don't need to do that. That's not necessarily something that's for everyone. Yeah. What did I want to talk about next? Yeah, the thing is with consciousness, right? Consciousness is an indirect emanation of the creator. Like the prime three emanations of the creator God are obviously like what the Catholics would call the Trinity. But further down the line, there are pagan deities, and then there are basic souls, right? A soul is a direct fractal emanation of the creator God. It is identical to the creator God, but it is also a smaller version of it. It's a hologram. It's a hologram in the original term of the hologram, where you can divide it into smaller and smaller parts and still remain the same, which is also a fractal process. So, so it's all connected to each other that way, and you can actually. That's how telepathy works, because inside the spirit world, our souls are all connected. Our consciousness is all connected directly, and because it's an information matrix, information isn't bound to space nor time. It can move forward and backward in time. It can move anywhere in space. It doesn't really have a dimensionality to it, and this is how you can do telepathy. Telepathy and remote viewing is best done in a hypnagogic state. I have tried it. I haven't succeeded so far. Not intentionally. I have had plenty of prophetic dreams, but those have been basically sent to me by God. I had no control over those. Um, yeah, I would personally like to learn more about this, and maybe you too. So, yeah, I might talk about this later again. So, stay tuned. Bye.